I forget the math, but somebody did the math and they like tracked how many running steps he's taken in all of his movies and then averaged how much money he made per
step,
sprinting step.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I can't think of the number, but it was more than I made this year.
Per step.
Per step. More money than I made.
Well, he
in a
did
year.
more than just run in the movies. He also said, "They're dead."
Hi, this is Ethan. They're dead.
Hello.
But this was
they're
the first time his team died. He's got 11 more teams that have to die.
Hello, are you there? Yeah. They're dead.
Hi, I'd like to place a collect call to They're Dead. It's me, Ethan.
I'm sorry. What did you say, sir?
Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on. Let me speak up. They're dead. Give me some background music. I need my. I need- People at home can't tell I'm swimming through the air to this. And welcome back, everybody. It is officially the summer of EFB.
All right, we're gonna get copyright.
No, guys.
You can hum anything you want.
Not if you're that perfect.
That mission's not impossible. It can't be that perfect. I'm doing it.
You can't be that perfect. All right, they'll copyright us. No, but welcome to the official start of our summer. Now, I know we did a Valentine's Day movie, but we're sticking on theme, I think, for this summer of saving the world. Now, I don't know how we came up to that. I think it was just because we wanted to watch Mission Impossible. And
we're going to make the rest of the summer fit. Our one decision we made 3 weeks ago.
That's right, folks. We have no idea what we're doing next, but it'll be something.
Yeah, they'll probably save the world in it. I don't know in what capacity, but somebody's saving the world. Damn
We're gonna go back to Moonfall. I swear.
Yeah, you know what? Put in the comments if you want another Moonfall.
Not enough Moonfall. I think we should honestly hit a Nicolas Cage movie, but you know.
Yeah, he's got to have saved the world at some other point besides knowing and
Moonfall.
No, Nicolas Cage wasn't in Moonfall.
Actually,
Patrick Wilson.
That was.
Or it could have been Nicolas Cage dressed up
as Patrick Wilson. Yo, that's the cool conspiracy.
And he pulls the mask off.
Yeah.
It was Nicolas Cage the whole time.
But it was actually a face.
Yeah.
Because his face off. So he actually went and got his face.
And John Travolta. What the fuck?
So surprisingly, Steve and I have not seen the first Mission Impossible movie.
Explain this to me, because we've been watching movies together for a decade.
Yeah.
We've seen all of the movies in my head. This is how it goes in my head. We've seen all of the movies.
Yeah.
I would say 70% of movies I watch are with these two yin yangs right here. And we start a podcast, and then just every fifth movie they haven't seen, and I want to do a little strangling.
Yeah, but it keeps it more interesting.
Yeah, but like, kind of hurts my feelings a little bit because I'm just assuming you guys have watched all of these. And you're just like, I haven't seen the first Mission Impossible, and I cried a little.
To be fair, I haven't seen any of the Mission Impossibles except the other one that we did on the podcast.
Yes. No, and like I had
fourth one?
The fourth one. But no, I haven't this was just a franchise that I missed. And then I remember Ghost Protocol coming out, and I was like, well, I haven't seen the first three and I'm not going to catch up. So
And then
then they kept putting them out, and I was like, oh god, there's 7 of these now. I'm not watching all these. Like, I'm too far behind. But then, Charles came on and he was like, hey, let's do Ghost Protocol. It's like one of his favorite action spy movies. And after watching it, I was like, all right, this is a pretty fun franchise. And then I've since binged the other like 3 of them. But this I was always like a Bond guy. Like, that's what we watched like every Thanksgiving. They always had that Bond-a-thon.
You watched James Bond at Thanksgiving, not American football like a true patriot. Get out.
No.
I mean,
Get out.
hot take. I'm not a James Bond fan, so I actually prefer Mission Impossible.
Yeah, there's a lot less of that the 80s masculinity where he's like, I will have sex with you, and
Not
then
a
I'm
fan.
gonna shoot a guy.
Not a fan.
Yeah.
To be honest, I never watched any of the James Bond films for that aspect of it, but as I got a little older, I was like, I can see why my mom doesn't like these movies
Yeah.
as much as my dad likes these movies. And then you get to
Extremely
one where
degrading.
it's like, oh,
yeah,
they
like,
painted her gold?
No, and
Okay.
then the end of one, he's like in the shower with a girl, and they're like, what's 007 doing? He's like, I believe he's attempting re-entry. And it's like, dude, come on.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and that was especially for back then, like those innuendos, you could have one glaring big innuendo in the
Right.
film, and then everything else had to just be like passing glances or like, that's a huge stretch to take it that way. But there was always one that just kind of kicked you in the nuts where you're like, yeah, we get it. And
Yeah.
we get it, guys. We get it.
We get it. Tom Cruise saved the world, and he fucked 0 people. I'm
Yeah.
just saying.
Yeah, there was, surprisingly, for a film from 1996, there was no sexualizing people.
Yeah.
It
or
was
women
almost.
in a bad way.
There was one moment of almost.
Yeah,
And that was just like-
almost sexual tension, and then
Yeah.
they're like,
Oh, there was clearly sexual tension, but that
Yeah.
might have just been me alone in my apartment.
But it was also the lady who is
Yeah, her
telling-
husband died 10 minutes ago?
Yeah, well, she was a little bit bad. I think she was a little evil.
And then I did read that originally they had a love triangle thing
Oh.
that was supposed to be in it, but and this is just what I read, it could be wrong, but they had George Lucas look at the
George
script,
Lucas, really?
and he told him to get rid of it.
Oh. Yeah, because he's like,
So-
I'm the only one who can have a love triangle, man.
Okay.
Yeah, probably.
Thank you for making the joke. That was softball for you.
Yeah.
But yeah, that could have been why he didn't want it. He's like, I did it first.
Nah, only brothers and sisters can love each other. Come on, man.
Yeah, he goes, first of all,
Ew.
none of these people staring into each other's eyes are related, and I don't get it.
You can't have a romantic kiss without your sister, dude. Come on. Come on, Tom Cruise. It's me, George Lucas.
I did not realize that this came out in 96.
It was the year I was born.
Because they just kept... Really?
Yeah.
Gee whiz.
Yeah,
It's
you're only
Danielle's
4
birthday
years old.
movie.
Yeah, what day did it come out on?
Yeah, this seems like a summer blockbuster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
I am a
know, but
summer
it did very well. And I there were some couple things where the movie wasn't going to come out. The studio that owned the TV show had been trying to make a film, but it either never got greenlit or just would get to a certain stage and then fall flat. And then we're saving the summer. Tom Cruise is saving Mission Impossible, the movie.
No, but I remember on our Ghost Protocol episode, so the organization Tom Cruise works for is called the IMF.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember making the joke. I'm like, what does that stand for? Like the Impossible Mission Force
Yeah,
or something?
100%.
And then it turns out that's actually the fucking name of the IMF is the Impossible Mission Force. I'm like, guys.
But when you learn that the TV show called it that in
Yeah.
1966, you go, okay,
All right.
we'll give him a pass on that one.
No, but I will say, okay, so I'm a big fan of the later ones. Like I love the action. I love that it's like how I feel about the John Wick movies, where when you actually have your star able to do these stunts
Yeah.
and like they can film him doing this, it makes your movie that much better. So like it was really fun going back to this first one after watching like Ghost Protocol and Rogue Nation and all those where they like dial it up to 11, and then seeing this one is like very tame. Like the craziest action stunt they did was like Tom Cruise hanging from that ceiling, but like everything else, they kind of like tried to fill it.
Train in a tunnel.
Yeah.
With
Well, yeah, but
that
was more like CGI. Like he wasn't actually on that train.
You mean like actual stunt work that you can see.
Yeah, like he's Halo jumping in the 6th one. In like the 7th one, he's launching himself off a cliff. Like he does insane shit.
But I do think it started from a place. I mean, clearly, looking at the line of movies here, it doesn't start from a place of that was so insane.
Right.
It started as a spy movie, and then they added all this action to keep up with how crazy action movies got over the years.
Well, they scaled it with technology and what he was willing to do. He's had, from 96 to now, he's had 20 years of experience on how to do these stunts the best.
Yeah.
So it's nice to see it ramp up like that.
Yeah, seriously.
But this was a spy movie that was a good spy movie.
Yeah.
And if it was, because it was originally made as like, oh, we're not sure about this. And then it was such a hit, they were like, we're making more of these.
Right.
And you saw the plots get a little bit simpler and the action ramp up because people got more dumb and want more explosions.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely on the more explosions thing. I do think Marvel movies and superhero movies just kind of ruined action films a little bit.
I hate to agree with you, but yeah, and like the way they filmed action in these movies where like it's quick cuts and like you can't really tell what's happening and there's CGI shit all over the place, and it's like I like Marvel movies. Well, I did like Marvel movies, but like I can't help but agree. Like when you go back to something like this, or like you see like a well shot action movie like John Wick or like one of these Mission Impossible movies, you're like, oh my god, it's kind of refreshing where it's just something simple.
Yeah.
or they do something different. Like in 1918, they had like a 18-minute one shot.
Yeah, of the guy running across the battlefield.
Do something different, and they're allowed to do. And I don't know all the studio constraints and things of that nature, but it's just so copy and paste. It was nice to see kind of a copy and paste spy movie coming out of the 70s, 80s, and into the late 90s.
Yeah,
where they did a lot of things well. And it showed because they made 58 more of these movies, and people still like them, and it's one of the biggest franchises ever.
Yeah, and I love seeing Tom Cruise this unhinged in the 90s. Like, some of his deliveries in this movie were like, just like perfectly crazy. I loved it.
Part of that is because there's stuff in front of him.
Yeah. Yeah, you're filming on set.
It was real. It wasn't all CG. Wow.
Who was the while filming The Hobbit? Everything was green screen. He was talking to tennis balls, and he's this trained.
Yes,
the older fella,
Ian McKellen, the guy who played Gandalf.
Yeah.
Because like there's that famous clip of him like breaking down on set because he's like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm in a green room. I'm going insane. You're just projecting voices at me.
Dude's like one of the best trained live play Broadway theater. Like he comes from a stage that you're standing on, and you painted a room green and are poking,
and you're like,
be Gandalf, and then jamming tennis balls at him.
That must be crazy. Yeah.
But this, I'm pretty sure Mission Impossible, this first one, was the first time that a whole background was CG.
Yeah, and it surprisingly worked well for the time. I think a lot of it had to do with how much motion blur they put on it.
Yeah.
It was very motion blur.
Maybe a little bit. Maybe a little blurry.
And it honestly made it look like they were going like 300 miles an hour, like more than like trains even go.
Like I thought they were on one of those like bullet trains in Japan.
Right? Those go 200 something.
Yeah.
In the 90s, trains were doing 50.
Like, dude, when Tom Cruise pops his head up onto this train, like, it looks like it's going to take his fucking head off.
The commercial with the speakers and the guy sitting down.
Yeah. No, but, like, we were joking around. I was like, dude, this is why I love that scene from Archer where he's like so hyped up about the train fight and he finally gets on top of the train. He's like, oh my God, this sucks. Like there's shit blowing in his eyes. Like you can't see.
I've ridden I think it's legal in PA, so I can say this. I've ridden a motorcycle with no helmet and no glasses. And just to see, and you're crying after 30 mile an hour.
Yeah.
You're just...
Yeah, and you're getting like
you can't see me squint because I've got huge sunglasses on and
Yeah.
didn't realize it, but I'm squinting right now and I'm crying.
Yeah. You're crying?
Macho man.
But yeah, the freaking train scene. I think the CG that they did was tasteful enough. It wasn't over the top CG. It was like useful CG to give an effect, and it was effective.
Exactly. Like they used it in places where they couldn't realistically put Jon Voight and Tom Cruise on top of a speeding train while the other guy's flying a helicopter that's attached to it. Like they can't do that. So yeah, they have to use some CGI to enhance the scene, make it look better. But like where they could show like Tom Cruise dangling from like the CIA building, that is all him on wires.
Yeah.
And like it looks good.
There was no wires. He did it for real. What are you saying, Steve?
He's just levitated.
But they could have put a helicopter in a tunnel chasing a speeding train. They just couldn't find anybody willing to do it.
They couldn't do it safely.
Like nowadays, Tom Cruise is probably like,
let's do it.
I could put a helicopter in a tunnel. Yeah. Put 12 helicopters in a tunnel.
I'm just saying, I've done it on Grand Theft Auto Online. So,
and if I can do it on there, it's got to be doable.
It's the same thing. It's completely one-to-one transferable to real life.
Now, speaking of CG and everything, there were a few times I had suspicions of them using miniatures. I don't know if you caught this, Steve. Some of like the buildings and the cars, I think they were blowing up cars.
You actually said it while we were watching the movie. You're like, I think those were little tiny things.
I think they're miniatures. You can tell by the way the light reflects. Yeah. It's not as detailed a lot of the time. So I do want to look this up and see if that's legitimate, but I think they were also doing miniature work.
Full disclosure, I did watch this on my phone screen at work while I was putting stuff away, so I didn't notice a lot of it.
It was just a few little times, but I mean they did that well also, even though I kind of pointed it out. I watch a lot of those videos where they talk about how movies are made, so I have a little bit of an eye for it, I guess, but it wasn't blatantly obvious.
Yeah, no, and like when you do it well, like all of those, like there's so many movies where they use great miniatures, but they make it look like epic scale. Like most of the Lord of the Rings is fucking miniatures, and they're just
but
like,
when you
what if we film it back here?
And and if you make a parking lot sized miniature, you're gonna do a lot better than making one the size of a coffee table.
Right.
Yeah, I think some of the car explosions were a little bit.
And I don't know if you noticed, but we've kind of repeated ourselves here again, stating that the way CGI was done in the 90s holds up way better than some of the CGI that's coming out now.
Yeah, and like
it's just funny to see another movie from that era use it when they needed to, did a decent enough job where it wasn't like everything CGI.
Yeah, and like don't get us wrong, like CGI looks good today. Like the stuff that they're able to do with computers is incredible. Like they've given us stuff in movies that is like beyond imagination. But when everything is a computer generated image, you're just kind of like it doesn't feel like a movie anymore. It
feels like a video game.
Yeah, like
it's
it loses
like, oh great,
the magic.
I'm watching a cutscene. Where's the hold escape to skip feature?
Yeah, like having like especially at the end here where like where the helicopter explodes and it sends Tom Cruise flying. Having that bit of jankiness where you can clearly see he's on wires and he's like in a weird angle that he would never actually be at to fly across the room. Like It makes movies just more fun because you're like, oh, that's a little silly. But, like, they actually filmed something, so it was kind of cool. It wasn't just, all right, we'll pay this guy $400 and he'll send Tom Cruise, CGI Cruise flying.
I mean, again, not to bring up Marvel, but, like, when you look at, I don't know, the newer Ant-Man movie and like some of those where literally 100% of what you're seeing on screen is CG, except maybe a little bit of your face.
And they're not even wearing like actual outfits. Even the outfits are CGI now. So it's like we're not even having costumes being designed anymore. It's like, well, they'll wear a green screen suit and don't worry, we'll add it in post. And then you get that weird like floating head syndrome.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they'll literally strap a camera to your face. You do the whole scene because they need to have 6,000 digital markers on your face so that they can just copy and paste your face into nonsense.
But, after all this talk about CG, I think we should talk about the story a little bit because...
Yeah, I was just going to say.
This opening scene is so... It's like that classic spy... everybody dies scene.
Well, yeah, and it draws in your attention because it's that typical we're getting our team together. All right, we're all prepping, we're all having fun, we're laughing,
and they bring you into the we're starting our mission now.
You're in mission control where I'm gonna whatever he says, I'm gonna quarterback this op from here,
right?
And that's everybody gets their roles handed out, which is a nice way to explain what everybody's going to be doing. They don't really swoop cut to Steve, expert demolition.
Yeah.
They don't do any of that, but it's just like
it's like Ethan Hunt, extraordinaire in all fields.
And you get the little.
Oh my god! Yeah, with
the green text comes up. Yeah.
Yes. Ethan Hunt, age unknown, origin unknown, world-class spy and master at disguise.
And then they add something stupid like phenomenal tennis coach.
And it freezes their face and it's like
I'm betting you're wondering what he likes to do on the weekends. Well, if you follow this little blurb, you'll find out he likes a nice sushi dinner on Friday. Yeah, no. Like I do like the get in the group together. Everybody's mission is clearly explained what they're going to be doing, and then just the way they all start getting picked off, like especially the guy in the elevator, because like
that's the first he gets squashed.
I was like,
I've seen it before and I wasn't expecting it, and I knew what was happening. I was like, oh, I forgot he got that spike through his head.
Now I'm not an elevator mechanic by any means. Is it usual to have a spike death trap at the top?
It is
of every elevator.
It is when you're trying to break into a really cool building that has lots of security and state of the art.
Yeah, but features. Inside at the very top of the elevator shaft,
and they proved
this will be dramatic.
They proved why they needed it that night.
Oh my god!
When it kills the guy breaking in.
Can you imagine? Like the architect is like, dude, I fucking told you would need an elevator spike trap.
They didn't want to give me an extra $6,000 for the elevator spikes, but guess what?
We've gotten reports of blood dripping from the ceiling of the elevator. Maintenance, if you could check that out, that'd be great. Then they open the top. They're like, oh my god!
Oh damn, he's been dead for weeks.
Oh, the smell.
God, we didn't think of a self-cleaning elevator trap.
You're just going up there with a little toothbrush, cleaning out all the little nooks.
Oh god, yeah, like some poor janitor is just like, all right, another one. We got to get off the spike trap.
These people just lock the roof of the elevator.
So, and then so now, granted, I've seen the other one, so I kind of get it. Like, there's going to be double crosses. There's going to be all that. But it's
a spy movie.
Yeah, and as soon as they're like, oh yeah, John Voight's dead, I'm like, you wouldn't book John Voight, kill him in the first scene, and not have him come back in some capacity. So I'm like, John Voight's the bad guy, and like just the way they kind of like showed it, where it's just like the gun in the camera. I was like, all right, so they're kind of trying to make it like cast some doubt and like all that, but. It was just one of those things where I'm like, you can't have John Voight in a movie and not have him, like, in the movie.
You think you're going to pull a shade over my eyes?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
You're going to have to wake up pretty early, Mission Impossible.
Just for that, I'm going to make a movie and kill him in the first 8 seconds of the film.
Some movies do that where they cast big names and then they kill them off immediately.
Yeah, I mean, Scream instantly comes to mind. Again, 96. You put Drew Barrymore in the lead role, and then you kill her in the first minute, and you're like, all right, I guess we're serious.
Yeah. So it is possible, but yeah. Steve's suspicion was correct.
Yeah, especially for spy movies. I'm like, you can't get rid of him. I know better than that. He's going to be the bad guy. But like, it didn't take anything away from the movie, because I was still like, oh shit, how's Ethan going to handle this? Like, this is crazy. Like, his whole team just got wiped out.
Boop, 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 boop. Hello, yes, they're dead.
Hi, Ethan Hunt here. They're dead.
I was just laughing at that delivery because it literally sounds like he's just kind of having a conversation. Yeah, so they're all dead. I'm sorry, what was that? They're dead. It's just the
0 to 100.
The 0 to 100 delivery made me laugh.
Well, he clearly didn't hear him the first time.
Yeah.
Because the reaction was not what he wanted.
Yeah.
So screaming it
like,
got his point across.
We just want to make sure you get in safe. Let's just worry about that. And then once you're in, we're going to completely blame everything on you and disavow you. Take that, Tom Cruise.
I gotta pick a little bit here.
Yeah, pick. Because again, we said we like this movie.
We like this movie, but they spent 1996 $890,000 on technology to follow a dude up the stairs and to an elevator. They had all the cameras. They had the spray.
I like the
spray. They
spray.
had 4 people in the building. They had more cameras because it was like the security footage thing, and it's just like they had 75 cameras, and there's no blind spots. It's a square room.
Well, like, God. See, you can never be too careful with the amount of cameras, because remember what happened in The Departed? They missed him because he didn't put a camera on the back alley, and then Alec Baldwin's kicking your ass.
That's true. That does happen sometimes.
It does happen. And Alec Baldwin's in the 5th and 6th one, so, I mean, it's possible he's going to start kicking some ass.
Just the sheer amount of technology packed into that building to get a floppy disk. It just it just made me chuckle now because it's a floppy disk. So they had 11 megabytes of data on that's like...
Yeah, one single floppy disk. How much can it hold?
And it was a list of names. So it was actually Word 97 wasn't even out yet. So it was still like the first iteration of Microsoft Word. Like it wasn't even Windows 97 yet.
Yeah.
So they had a notepad text document of 58 names, and it's on a floppy disk. And we're going to spend $1.5 million to get a floppy disk. It's just the level of tech. Like they could do all this stuff, but they're still storing things on. It's like they've got spray, which means the camera they have can filter for whatever they sprayed, and then all these different cameras. They've got the press and stick hack
glass camera.
They've got the
pull that out at the end.
I was like, we have those nowadays, and they don't look as good as those.
They've got the Google lenses, the spec prototypes from Nike or something.
The Snapchat lenses, have you seen those?
No.
Oh god,
that's an old.
Yeah,
that was like 2016.
No, but like so. So the whole purpose of this movie is there's this list of agents and their names, and this person is trying to buy them to out all these undercover agents and get them killed. So Tom Cruise is trying to stop them from obtaining this list. Now, there are 4 separate scenes where he gives a fake decoy disc to one member of his team, or in some capacity hands out like a fake version of this floppy disk. And I want to know when Tom Cruise had the time to get all of these fucking extra floppy disks made.
That's true. We were following him the whole time, and it didn't seem like he stopped at a Radio Shack.
Yeah, didn't stop at fucking Circuit City. Like nothing.
You do see him have 2 discs in the vault.
Did I miss that?
But that was it.
That.
But he's very, for a document that sensitive, he plays pretty fast and loose with who has it and what they're doing with it.
Yeah. And then like there's that scene with the French guy, and he's like, Ethan, give me the knock list or I'll kill you. And Ethan's like, hey, let me perform some sleight of hand real quick.
Which was super cool. I feel like you're just kind of crapping on it for no reason. It was super cool.
But just hear me out. So he tries to steal that list from him, but then Tom Cruise still trusts him enough to bring him on the mission the next day. I'm like, dude, he literally just outed himself as the bad guy. And then when he comes out as the bad guy, Tom Cruise is like, what? Like,
yeah, but see, after that, he gave it to Ving Rhames. You ain't getting that floppy off of Ving Rhames, baby. Ain't happening. Dude, ain't happening. That's a large man.
I love that he has like a bigger part in this. Like, because in the later movies, he's involved, but he's not like in the field. He's not really.
He's
doing
the guy
stuff.
they've got to call because they get 30% done the mission, and you know who we're gonna need. The guy everybody wants to see in the movie.
Yeah.
Who you gonna call?
Ving Rhames.
Ving Rhames.
He come out there, do a little typing.
Yeah, but
good to go.
And I love the recruitment scene of him because Tom Cruise is like, oh man, maybe you're not as cool as I thought you were, dude. Like, I don't know. I heard some pretty cool things, but you seem pretty lame. And then Ving Rhames is like, nobody calls me lame.
Yeah.
And then Tom Cruise is like, I'm just saying.
He
seems
gets
a little lame.
He gets 8th grade playground
he gets peer
baited. Absolutely 8th grade baited into robbing the CIA.
To fucking hacking Langley. Just like, I don't know. A cool guy would do it. And he's like,
I like the Langley, Virginia, right? It's just like, yeah.
Virginia.
We're in a movie. It's gonna be Langley, Virginia. Like,
yeah. Oh my god, I just love it.
I like him in everything.
No,
I like him in everything. I think it's just because he's huge.
Yeah,
he's just
that
so
helps
huge.
with the likeness. Yeah,
and he's always wearing leather coats that I could never pull off.
I honestly forgot that he was the guy in Pulp Fiction.
Yeah,
Marcellus Wallace. I forgot about that because, like, for some reason, like he showed his face, and I'm like, that's the same fucking outfit from Pulp Fiction, and I was like, oh shit, he was in Pulp Fiction.
That's one of my favorite lines in a movie is Ving Rhames when he racks that shotgun. I'm gonna call a couple pipe hitting brothers, go medieval on their ass with a blowtorch.
No, I'm pretty fucking not okay.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite scenes. Not for what happened to him during the scene, but the result of was some of the
fun.
coolest verbiage ever.
Now, I will say that when it came to our second mission of the movie, I like the gadget stuff. I was always a spy toy kid, like any of the little gadget things. I had those laser pointers that would clip onto like the door frame. And then if you walk past it, it sets off an alarm, and you could like use a little spray bottle. And
oh my god! I remember the commercials for that.
Yeah,
Invisible ink. Then they had, after like, I don't know, 10 years, they got the invisible ink that you could see with the glasses.
Yeah, with the
yes,
I had some of that.
Yeah, it was like McDonald's toys when Spy Kids came out, like a bunch of those things. So I thought the laser thing was really cool.
Oh, right, because that was the thing, like to seal off the vent there, like it just like reflected the light and just sent it into each other. That was
which is pretty cool. Don't think that's how it works.
I feel like it would notice.
Yeah, but in the same time, I just like, it's like what you were saying. I love the gadgets that they pull out in these movies, like all the mask technology that they have. Like, it looks a little goofy in this movie, but I'm like, it's so insane to just be like, I can be anybody. Oh, wait, no, I'm Tom Cruise again.
I just want to know how they have the time to, like, glue their edges down and, like, get a perfect fit.
He's
He's
always
a little
wearing
spirit gum and under your...
Oh, look. They're the best.
It's just like Tom Cruise in a dressing room, like putting on lipstick, and like Luther comes in. He's like, "I told you not to bug me when I'm putting on my mask."
You get a little bit of you have to melt off the edges.
Oh yeah,
like around your eyes and stuff with like a little Q-tip. So he's just in there, just like smoothing the edges down
to wear it for 48 seconds past one security guard and one guy that goes, "Hey,"
and then he just rips it,
and then rips it off. It was much more noticeable, the masks in 1996.
Yeah.
But again, it was really cool to see, knowing where they go with it. It was fun. And that's why I like going back and watching older movies. You're like, because you see that and they're like, oh, they did that. And they kept doing it and it got way better. And I think they used a little bit of that to do this. And this inspired, like, I like seeing like the spider webs go out when you go back and watch.
Yeah, because like when you watch the new ones and they have these like mask making things, and you're just like, this is fucking cool.
Yep.
But then like it was like you were saying, it's fun to go back, and then like you can tell the one time they did try to do it practically, and Tom Cruise went to rip the mask off, and his fingers went through the mask.
He was
and
excited.
He like ripped the bottom of it off.
Yeah.
He was excited.
But like that's the shit where you're like, oh shit, they literally tried to put him in a mask and they ripped off some like prosthetic.
Yeah.
The over polishing of things in situations where there would be no polish.
Right.
It's kind of hard, because in a high pressure situation, if you need to get the mask off, the mask is coming off, and it's not going to be pretty, and your eyelashes are going with it, but that mask is coming off. And I feel like it's not so much the scripted nature, because it's a movie and everything. Some directors are down to the like finger movements. You know what I mean? It's all planned out. But it was nice to see. It's always refreshing to see a little bit of human in movies, no matter who they are. Like I know for me, like in the middle of like some of the Jason Bourne stuff.
Oh, yeah.
You'll see him literally, like, after he goes on this big long run, and then he gets water.
Yeah.
And yeah, I get he's a super spy and this, that, and the other thing, but he just did his workout in some tropical country, and the first thing he does is go get water.
Right.
That's nice to see. When they would have just started the action sequence, but they had him go to a little thing, get a bottle of water, drink it, and then get in trouble. Like,
right.
So little stuff like that, like the fingers through the mask, and then the stairs, like going up and down stairs. It was a little. It was a little. I don't know, not like baby giraffe-ish, but you could tell.
Clumsy.
You could tell that person was running down a set of stairs, and they probably hadn't done it 78 times.
Right. So
just little stuff like that just adds a layer of realism to it, whether they realize it or not, that I think gets polished out, and you don't notice it till you go back and you're like, that looked kind of funny.
Right.
Well, actually, if I was getting shot at, I probably might not be able to get the keys out of my pocket too.
Yeah.
Right.
But speaking of shooting, I don't think he doesn't shoot a gun.
No,
it's the only one where there's no gunfights.
No, like
there's not.
The only time people are shot is when John Voight does it, and it's a quick little pew, and then we're done.
That's all you need.
Yeah, which shoot your wife before
before you shoot Tom Cruise. Like
that threw me off. I was like, what? She just said maybe don't kill the guy who like we've been working with is like kind of our friend, you know.
Right.
Maybe just don't kill him.
Yeah.
And he's like, nah. Shoot you instead.
Don't tell me what to do, babe.
Yes, you've been controlling my whole life. It ends now.
Like, typical villain behavior.
Yeah,
oh my god.
Just fucking toxic masculinity.
Masculinity.
There wasn't too much of that.
No, and that, like we were saying, like this is it's so far away from like what the James Bond movies do, where like some of that stuff is like a little uncomfortable and it's like way too like sexualized, and then you get a movie like this where it's got all the same stuff, it's got all the same like cool gadgets, it's got the same spy thriller plot, but they did it in like a way where it's like you don't need that shit, and it's like not a part of Tom Cruise's character where he's just like, I could sleep with that, and I could sleep with that, and I could sleep with
yeah,
that.
He actually like chooses to more so reject her when she's coming on to him.
Right.
Because he is mission focused. And I think there's a time and a place for sex in movies. And when you're in the middle of a critical mission, maybe that's not the time.
Yeah.
Speak for yourself, Danielle. Speak for yourself.
There's a time and a place for it in movies, and it's when a hockey mask killer is coming after you, and you think you're safe, so you're gonna fuck in a tent, and the next thing you know, he's impaling you with a stop sign. All right, that's when it's acceptable in movies.
Or in spy movie cases, classic honeypot.
Gotta do a honeypot.
That's fine. But there wasn't a honeypot situation, so they didn't need to.
I've watched so many movies. This is why, whenever a good-looking woman comes up and talks to me, I say, "You work for the government," and run away. I go, "I'm on to you," and
you
then
can't fool me, government agent.
Smoke screen out of there, and then I break any aquarium in sight, preferably a 3,000-gallon restaurant-sized aquarium, and kill 184 fish.
Only with my chewing gum, though.
And no people, though. That wasn't. He didn't kill anybody by letting the water. They all got out.
Everybody was fine. Fish did not make it. And I think you were just like, really? From chewing gum? I was just like, it might have been a little over the top.
Yeah, well, I was like, how in the world did that give like a grenade-like explosion just from a little piece of gum?
Just don't chew it.
Whatever you do, don't chew it.
You would think you have to like mix it together and then shoot it or something for it to like actually explode like that.
Well, there's different kinds of explosives. Some an impact will set off, others an impact won't. We can get into that after the episode if you like.
All right. Well, if you could invent the chewing gum grenade, let me know.
They already have it, but I cannot confirm or deny it. Don't kill me in my sleep, United States government. Thanks.
Well, before we get Michael into too much trouble, do you guys have any final thoughts on Mission Impossible?
I overall like this Mission Impossible, I think, more than the newer ones, just because it feels more like a down-to-earth spy movie. It doesn't feel like an over-the-top action movie. And I get, honestly, kind of bored with a lot of new action scenes where it's just constant and it's just car chase after car chase after fist fight after car chase after fist fight, and I'm just like, all right, when do we get a break?
Right.
This wasn't that at all, and I think the action scenes stood on their own and finished out the movie well. And I like the story. There were a few janky things, but hey, it's from the 90s.
Yeah. I think with the story, since they weren't sure about it, I think they tried to pack in as much story as they could. And in doing so, like to piggyback off of what you said, the pace of this movie it wasn't slow.
No.
But it was a slow movie during the slow parts, which I think is a accurate representation of what that lifestyle would be like.
Right.
When everything's cruising along, and then the amount of humor. That team clearly got along. Everybody liked each other. They were joking. Wait, where'd they put you up this time? The Taj Mahal or whatever.
Hotel.
And then even that joke comes back later when that's where the Bible stamp from what hotel it came from. So like little stuff like that, you're not going to get that if, like you were saying, well, if they got out of the car chase and had a fist fight and then had a shootout, then did another car chase, it's like you're not going to remember those details.
Right.
But where it was relaxed when it was relaxed, and then it was very not relaxed when it was not relaxed.
Right.
And I also think a good scene for an example of being a slow pace scene was when he was hanging from the ceiling trying to get the floppy disk, because he's kind of just hovering, like when he gets dropped down towards the ground because big guns couldn't hold him up.
Should have had Ving Rhames in the fucking.
Yeah, right. They should have had a locking mechanism on the rope.
Yeah, you were actually. She was very upset about that.
I was upset about that.
So
they drop him down, and then he's just hovering there forever. And I'm like, are they gonna pull him up? But it adds tension.
Yeah.
While also being like not a fast-paced scene. So
right, they let you sit in it, and like you're feeling the tension that the characters are feeling.
Yeah,
because like as Tom Cruise is sweating and he has to catch his drop of sweat so it doesn't set off the alarms.
Like moving slowly,
right?
And then it's
and
like
the second one had to come
yeah.
down.
Yeah, like they definitely did a really good job, starting a franchise, and if they obviously have made more, so like it worked. So like I like to see where this is. I liked seeing where it started, and I'm excited to watch the next two because I haven't seen the second one or the third one.
It brought spy movies out of that cliche 70s and 80s, and then because there was spy movies and then action films, so you had the Terminator, James Bond, and Rocky,
right,
and then Stallone movie. Why can't I think?
Rambo?
Yeah, Rambo. So you had those in the like 70s and 80s and into the early 90s. And they're like, all right, we got to do something to bring a classic film genre of a spy movie. Spy movies have been around since 1911. And this one did a good job of ushering it into the modern era with relatable gadgets, not futuristic technology.
Right.
And I think that's kind of what cemented it for people. Was in the late 90s, these technologies were starting to come out, and the camera and the glasses wasn't a big deal because you could hold a camcorder in the 90s, so
yeah. And it was like, how far can we take this technology, and how far can we push it and be like, well, this is probably what we'll have in the future, and this is probably what like a spy organization would have, like, 'cause they have like 10 years or like in the future tech already for some reason. But like, yeah, no, I agree with that.
It was a good modern era. Here's a spy movie for the modern era, and we're not going to ruin it, and we're not going to do the same kind of cheesy he gets the girl every time, and that kind of which has become synonymous with that genre.
Right.
Yeah. Overall, recommend.
Yeah, no. If you were like us and you haven't seen the first Mission Impossible, definitely check it out.
Then we just ruined the whole movie for you.
Don't lump me in with you guys.
All right. Well, if you're like Danielle and I, and not like Michael,
yes,
and you haven't seen the first Mission Impossible, definitely go check it out.
And join us next time when we save the world yet again.
I was going to say, we saved the summer for the first time, right?
Yeah.
Not bad.
Next time we'll save it again.
Yeah, we'll save it again with a different lead actor or actress.
No one knows.
Because we have no idea.
Yeah. Flying by the seat of our pants, just like Tom Cruise. Anyway, we'll catch you guys in another 2 weeks with another world-saving event. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.